and welcome back to the only Accies YouTube channel. It's finished here today. Hamilton 0, Rangers 2, in what was yet again another disappointing performance against the Old Firm. Hamilton started the game poor and ended the game poor. We're joined today by two fans, Stephen and Andrew, to give their opinions on today's game and to pick out some players who impressed them or did not impress them. And by the way, this is your warning, there will be some swearing. So, Stephen, it's finished obviously. Rangers 2, Hamilton 0. What did you make of their performance overall?
I thought we started the wrong teammate, to be honest with you. I don't think there's anyone near us ready for that. I don't think he's anyone near ready to be in that start 11. I know he's an academy graduate. He's going to have all his days. So I respect that we want to try and get the best out of him, but I don't think he's anywhere near good enough to be getting a starting appearance from Hamilton in the top flight. I don't think he's well off the pace. I think he's strong enough. I think he's good enough to be getting a start. And I think I never rated the boy until last season, but we really miss Alexander Kogic, by the way.
Yeah.
Majorly. He made Scott Martin look like a serious player as well, because he done all his dirty work. Kogic would fight himself in front of a bus with his teammates.
Yeah.
And see Trafford and Callaghan, no disrespect whatsoever. They're not anywhere near his level. And Kogic just went on to prove people like myself wrong, because I don't think Kogic was good enough to ever get called up for Cyprus. And now look at him, he's went to a call off 4 games after his left backies. And I didn't think he was even going to get a game with Hibs.
Yeah.
And he's played every week, and Hibs fans are actually saying he is their best player. And that is exactly where they were leading. Somebody was going to find themselves in front of a bus for their defence to keep anything coming into their box out. And that's what he's done. And he's totally proved me wrong. And fair play the big chap. See, somebody proves me wrong, I love it, because I've always got the right opinion. To be honest, at times I don't. I really don't. That's why I'm at the box now, getting a fight. Recently, as I've seen Gogic, proved me totally wrong, and I love being proved wrong, because I think I've got the right opinion. As you always back up your own opinions. Yeah. But see, when you get proved wrong, especially in a football sense, I think take a step back and realise you're no meant to be a pundit, you're not meant to be the best Accies fan in the world, you're not meant to be the best criticising the world. And I love it.
And obviously, if we're focusing on today's game, is there any positives we can take into that? We know obviously the next game's Livingston.
Sean won, by the way. That's excellent. He puts his heart and soul into that team. And my mate, Lapper, who was on your show last week,
yeah,
he laughed at me, right? Because someone said Sean Munt should, I can't remember who it was, somebody said Sean Munt should be due a Scotland Cup. I said, you know what? I'm not saying he does deserve it, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't disagree with that, because at the end of the day, Sean Munt, he's not a world beater, but he puts his heart and soul in that team. And I personally think, see that single-handedly performance today, I think that's a better performance that Michael Devlin ever put in for Hamilton Accies. That performance today, he put his heart and soul in it, and he'd seen him with 2-0 down. He was only playing that part that looked like, he gave a fuck.
Yeah.
For me, that means a lot. And I know Big Sean personally, he's a sound boy, and he has deserved his chance. And a lot of people give him criticism, especially Lattler, who'll be laughing at this and here after. I love him. I think he's the heart on that team. And see, as long as you've got a wee bit of ability, 100%, you can pass maps.
Yeah.
Scott Martin today, he's not got much ability. And you might be getting 100%, but see, if you're getting 100%, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I love him. He's a brilliant guy, but he's not good enough.
Yeah.
Sorry, but he's not.
Smash him. That's perfect, man. That's everything, man. Thank you very much. Cheers, man. Appreciate it. Our second man today is Andrew. Andrew, what did you make of the lineup when it initially came out?
I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty solid looking. Some big sturdy players in there, reliable players. Lee Hodgson's looked great since he started. Sean Munt and the Dolphin looked quite a good pair at the back, and then Charlie Trafford provides a bit of kind of more sturdiness in the middle. It maybe didn't work out quite that nicely, but I thought the lineup looked fine, yeah. And
were you surprised at all at the inclusion of Regan Mimno, given his performance last week?
No, I think watching Accies a few years, it tends to be a bit of a pattern. Someone will come on as a substitute and play quite well. That kind of guarantees him a start in the next game. Maybe it shouldn't be like that, but that tends to be the way it seems to work.
And what did you make of Regan Mimmo today?
I thought he was okay. He definitely wasn't the weak link in the team or anything.
Yeah.
I think every player's going to struggle against Rangers to some extent. He could have played better, but he could have played a lot worse as well.
I absolutely agree. I thought Regan Mimmo actually really impressed me today. We've spoke obviously previously with Stephen about some other players. I was wondering, what did you make of the performance overall? So he said Regan Mimmo wasn't the weak link in the team. What did you make of the team performance overall?
I thought, despite losing 2 goals, I thought defensively they looked pretty solid again. I thought Rangers were struggling to actually create a whole lot of clear-cut chances. Going forward though, it's absolutely terrible. The passing seems so slack, especially against the bigger teams. They just seem to kind of panic, and so many passes are going out the park, are not making it to the man. So I'm really not impressed with the midfield build-up at all.
Yeah.
I don't know what they can do about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, quite a few players I believe should have been kind of in the lineup or started, or at least kind of came into the game a lot earlier. People like Callum Smith. I thought Justin Johnson should have got a run out. Tunde Obalabi we're all kind of waiting for to really kind of see him kick on. We've also got the international break. So a little bit of break, but the sounds of it, Will Collar will be back after that international break, we're hoping. Next game's Livingston. What would you change ahead of that game? Who would you stick with? Augie up front? Would you bring him off entirely? What would your game plan be for then?
I think Ocampo's got to go.
Okay.
He's really, really disappointing today, in my opinion. It'd be fine if he was trying hard, if he was running about, but he seems so lazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a fitness issue. Moyo's not impressed me massively either. I think it maybe is the chance to put Tunde in, see what he can do. I think that's how and how I'd be wanting him up front. Maybe not by himself, but I would definitely be wanting him up. I'm not sure about the rest of the team. I think if hopefully we can get Lewis Smith back, I think either him or Templeton needs to be in the team week in, week out. Sometimes if they're both playing together and one's maybe a wee bit off form, it can be a little bit like a man down. But we definitely need some more creativity in that midfield.
Yeah, and we'll end quite nicely. If you were to pick a man of the match for today, who would you give it to?
That's a hard one. It's probably got to be Sean Watt, though.
Sean Watt, yep, absolutely. Any reason why, in particular reason?
He's just really solid at the back. Dolphin probably a close second, but it always seems to be Sean Watt kind of getting the right last ditch tackles in. He kind of seemed to command the box really well. He was just all round really solid today.
So as stated by the fans, it was a pretty disappointing performance today. I absolutely agree with the man. The match has to go to Sean Watt. I thought he was a rock in the back today and did very, very well. Despite conceding 2 goals, I don't believe we can really blame the defence that much. The biggest culprit would be Scott McMahon. That first goal, he should have reacted a little bit quicker, and he just lost his man too many times down that wing today. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't getting the best protection from Andy Winter, who was being played out on the left. Again, a confusing player in the starting lineup, especially out on the left hand side. But I have to agree with Stephen and what he said. I don't think Andy Winter's ready yet. That's not saying he's not a good player, but he's just not ready for consistent first team football. Brink coming on as a sub in games that we're winning or losing, heavily, we'd probably bring the best. Betfred Cup games are perfect to bleed him in. We saw what he did against Edinburgh City at home. Those kind of games are where he starts to come in. He should not be starting, I don't think, and I hope he doesn't next week. Nothing against him, I just don't think he's quite ready. I also agree with Stephen when he said about Scott Martin. Gogic made him look better than he was. Now don't get me wrong, Scott Martin is giving 100% every game, I cannot deny that, but he needs to be in the centre of that midfield, and he needs to have a holding midfield next to him. That Gogic-Martin partnership worked so well because when Martin ran up to do the high press, to run past the striker, stuff that he does really well, Gogic was there to clean up the mess. Now when we start Callaghan and Martin together, they both do that high press and it leaves our midfield totally open, and he tried to fix that today, Brian Rice, with including Charlie Trafford, who I don't think was terrible today, but came off at half-time for Jamie Hamilton, just to shoot up our defence to make sure it wasn't the 3-4-5-6, which it still could have been. Rangers were great today, let's not try and take the pace off it, but they didn't get out of first gear, and that says more about us than it does them. Overall, I'm very disappointed in today's performance, disappointed in the result and how we set up. It's again one of those situations, though, I said with Celtic, don't judge us against these games, judge us against others. And that may not carry much weight given we lost to St Mirren and Ross County, but there is bright signs to see. We've looked to be getting a kind of more consistent, solid defence. That's kind of messed up by Scott McMahon's red card, which is a red card, no doubt about that. two silly things he had to do. The first one, he had to take the yellow. It was a goal scoring opportunity, and the second one, it was a threat, but I still think he could have let him go. Just to save himself that red card. It's a shame, but it doesn't mean we are without a left back for the Livingston game. Will Kyle Munro, who came off the bench today, will he get his chance? Will Lee Hodgson maybe play out on that left hand side? Who knows what will happen, but we are without Scott McMahon, who has been our captain. I imagine Sean Want will take that mantle. Today's man of the match I give to Sean Want. Excellent performance from him today. Personally, Odolphin probably a close second. I agree with what Andrew said there. We've got the international break, so if any news pops up, of course, we will keep you up to date. If you haven't listened to our Lewis Smith podcast, our exclusive interview, please go ahead. I will leave a link to it in the description. Go check it out on Spotify and on YouTube. It's a great listen, and he is a great guy to go on, and of course, a huge Hamilton fan. If you like this kind of content, be sure to hit subscribe down below. Follow us on Spotify and on YouTube, and of course, our social medias are linked in the description. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you again soon.